the sacrifice of temporary pleasure. These are pokes of the devil from time to time to distort you from the path of spiritual progress. They come either from windows of distraction that you open momentarily, or from interactions you have with people that have the wrong spirit. Once and again, they pop up. If you don't gain mastery on how to tame temporary pleasure, you will destroy many years of labor in minutes. And then you find yourself dwelling on one mountain for a long time. Does God forgive? Yes. But sin affects the soul structure. There is a momentum you build in the spirit. If you allow yourself to fall to temporary pleasure, your soul will descend. Even if God forgives you, you will follow the route again, and you will build before you come there. That's why spirits, most times, they wait for you at your kairos moment. Because at the kairos moment, they know you are light. You are about to take a flight to another phase, so they bring other alternatives. Many people don't know why it's in December that they fall. They understand forgiveness, but they are not intelligent in priesthood. Because they don't know there is something. They have not studied their spiritual cycle. They don't know that every time, why is this thing always strong in December? They don't pay attention to their spiritual cycle. This demon come and then they punctuate your walk with pleasure. And then you do something for one day, and then it shuts down 24 months of prayer and intercession. Priesthood teaches us that our greatest moments of decision and relevance are not in the chronos moments, they are in the kairos. That time when the attack of the devil becomes so strong, that's when God is doing something, because they have seen the star in the spirit. When Jesus was born, the wise men saw his star and they began coming. That moment, that's when the devil wants to abort what you were building on your altar for long. But you don't allow it. It is called the intelligence of priesthood. You don't know why men grow progressively. The reason men grow progressively is not just because they are consistent. It's because they refuse to yield to temporary pleasures. Because those things are junctions in your path of progress that intends to frustrate your growth protocol. When you fall, God forgives you, but your soul will start again to build. You come, you fall, you go back, you build, and you don't know why these things don't work. And then you come to tell people, man, to move in power, it will take 5 years. It is not time bound. It is yieldedness bound. It is when your obedience is complete that you avenge disobedience. For one man, it will take 6 months. For another man, it may take 20 years. The doctrine is not time-based. The doctrine is reality-based. Those quick moments that the devil brings, he knows you are strong. He will not attack your fellowship life. He knows you will always be in fellowship. He will not attack your character. He knows but your morality is very strong. But there are those moments when he sneaks in by night and he suggests things. And then you go online, you engage on a chat, and you frustrate what the Holy Ghost is doing in your soul in the past 6 months. When you do these things, you are not yet wise. It is the intelligence of priesthood. It is on this wise that we have decided to build altars as against tents. Abraham, the Bible said, he built altars, but he pitched tents. Because his destiny and everything he can become, the totality of his possibilities, are predicated on the altars that he built. This is why our prayers is longer than time. Our prayer become an intimacy-based reality. Even when we don't have a word on our lips, we stay in the presence. Because there is a teaching syllabus that is ongoing. When it doesn't look appealing, we still go to pray. Because prayer for us has gone beyond an economy of receiving from God. It has become a walk of life. And only people that have grown into priesthood have this understanding. You don't come to that point, you may not amount to much in God. You will practice all the principles of faith. I heard Bishop Oyedepo said something. When he wanted to get married, the devil came to him and said, you must fall. The guy is so rugged in his faith that they had to break through the veil of the supernatural and say to him, you must fall. And he looked at it. He said, God, strike me with leprosy if I touch this woman. They don't know why they are mighty. When you learn the principle, learn the life. Kadosh, Kadosh, Elohim, Adonai, Elohim, we worship you. Kadosh, Kadosh, tonight, the first thing we are going to do is to build altars. You will not be mighty in this kingdom until you are a man of altars. Go and take the life of the patriarchs. They were men of altars. The Bible said from the days of Enosh, the men began to call upon the name of the Lord. He said Enoch walked with God and was not, because God took him. He said, and Abraham builded an altar to the God that appeared to him. He said Noah erected an altar. They were not patriarchs because they came first. They were patriarchs because they pioneered causes. They were patriarchs because they pioneered dispensations. They were patriarchs because they pioneered spiritual operations. It was in the life of Noah that the righteousness that was imputed was born. He said on the strength of his reference, he received the righteousness that is of an heir. He became the heir of righteousness. So he pioneered a new walk. He pioneered a new order in the spirit. He's not called a patriarch because he came early. He's a patriarch because he pioneered the path that you and I follow. He said Abel provided a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. It was Abel that revealed that sacrifice is the way of interacting with spirit. To receive the approval of the spirit, your life must be run on sacrifice. He pioneered an order. When the immortals looked at them, they wonder, how do mortal men come to this kind of wisdom? Sacrifice was only an economy that was operational in the realm of the immortals. Only God understood what sacrifice meant. Who taught them? They didn't read any doctrine. How did they know these things? So they became well pleasing to God. The life of Abraham mirrored the dimension that by sacrifice a man can become well pleasing to the Lord. Abraham pioneered the new order. It's called the order of obedience. Faith that comes by obedience to God. He said, leave your nation, leave your kindred, leave your family to the land that I will show you. How do men understand? Who taught you that men live and work for spirits? He didn't know where God was leading him. He said he carried his nation, his children, from tent to tent, and he was looking for a city with foundation, whose builder and maker was God. Who told you that men should obey spirits? How did you know it? He's not the father of faith because he came early. He's the father of faith because he pioneered that order. They are not patriarchs because it's a title. They pioneered things in God. Moses was the one that revealed that for you to amount to greatness in God, you must reject the pleasures of this world. The Bible said when he was come of age, he refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. Who told you that you have to let go of your influence in the world before you can serve a prince, a spirit? What made him relevant in the world of his day? What gave him ranking in the courts of Pharaoh was the fact that he was connected to Pharaoh's daughter. Who told you will break your cord with the world before you can walk with the spirit? It was Moses that pioneered the way of consecration. You break away from the world before you can walk with the spirit. He said he refused the pleasures of Egypt, which is for a season, because he saw him that was invincible. They are not patriarchs because it's a title. They are patriarchs because they pioneered spiritual possibilities. That's why their lives in the spirit represent gates and systems. Their lives are gateways and portals. The Bible said, look unto Abraham your father and unto Sarah that bore thee, for I have called him alone and I have blessed him. So there is a dimension in God you can never enter until the lifestyle of Abraham becomes your lifestyle. He is the custodian of that possibility in the spirit. He said the things that were written aforetime, they were written for our learning, so that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. Why? Because the life of this man is an example. There's a dimension in God you cannot enter until you understand what it means to consecrate. Moses is the gatekeeper of that reality. So a man who begins to consecrate, the spirit of Moses will overtake him. The man suddenly becomes a leader. He leads many nations. You don't know how it happens. There are many pioneers of ministry, but only consecrated men become great. It is an order that Moses pioneered. You can never be mighty until you are a man of consecration. He said, teach them laws, teach them ordinances, teach them status. Moses grew in rank until the Bible called him the first king of Israel. He said he was the king of Jeshurun. The word Jeshurun talks about Israel. Moses was the first king of Israel in the spirit. How did he enter there? By consecration. You want to be mighty in God? You must study the life of the patriarchs. Through altars, they entered into spiritual possibilities that are not written by pen and paper. They are written in the heart of men that walk with God. People are looking for dimensions and encounter. Did you know how it was pioneered? He said Enoch walked with God and it was not. Men who carry dimensions of the spirit are men that walk with God. Walking with God is not just a faith you profess. Walking with God means you have become like a puppet in his hand. Anything he wants to do, you are the one through which he does it, whether it's reasonable or not. That's why God can tell a prophet to go and marry a prostitute. There's no doctrinal basis for it, but he understands that when a spirit speaks, the only thing you do to be accurate is to obey him. It's an order that Enoch pioneered. That's why they walked in the spirit. A point came, the guy walked and he bore testimony that God will take him. Elijah followed the same pattern of walking with God. Many times, many seasons, many years, he lived in a brook. It's not a comfortable place to live, but he studied Enoch's life. He knows what it means to walk with God. And the point came, he became famous. Obadiah told him, what have I done to deserve this? You want me to go to call the king and then God will carry you to another place? That means his transport system was spirit travel. Because he mastered the way of Enoch, the way of consecration. It was not a doctrinal reality, it's life. He saw it in Enoch and he lived it. And him also, like Enoch, he said that God will take him. And he traveled through 4 nations. He knew the exact location where the whirlwind was coming. It is by intimacy. Enoch pioneered the way of intimacy. That's why they are called patriarchs. They are fathers. They are pathfinders. They are policy creators. They are wielders of spiritual secrets. They are holders of mysteries, watchers of territories, and keepers of gates. They understand how the spirit realm works because their life is a perpetual devotion to God. Hallelujah. Glory to the Lamb. Glory to the Father. You are seated on the throne. Hey! The Bible said Philip, he went to Samaria. He preached Christ there and the city was filled with joy. Taught him the doctrine of righteousness. He saw it in the life of Enoch. He said Enoch prophesied that in the days of Elijah, God will return with 10,000 of his saints. That was the same doctrine Elijah was preaching. Elijah propagated righteousness. Philip propagated righteousness because intimacy is a function of righteousness. Holiness is the business of the courtroom. That's why they travel in the spirit. They knew the order. They could climb to the mountains of God, and the things that you did many years ago, they will go there and undo it. Jacob looked at Reuben. He said, you are as unstable as water, you will not prosper. But another man came and he journeyed in the corridor, and when he came to the mountains of Zion, he said, let Reuben live. He spoke from a place in the spirit. I have found that place. That's how we undo curses. A witch can stand in the waters and speak. There's a height you get to in Zion, and you will speak and you will nullify what he has uttered. It's a technology of prophet, of priesthood. The intelligence of priesthood. You don't have intimacy, go and relax, my brother. The kingdom is not for you. You can be a babe in the kingdom, but if you want to move the hand of God, you must become a man of intimacy. Many living for themselves, distractions and appetites. It's called the way of the patriarchs, and only men that understand priesthood walk in it. You pray now. I don't have time. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.